Yes, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Anne Hadikethan. I'm a writer and poet from India. I'm also a teacher of writing, and I run a little writing community called Write the Real You. And in this community, we meet every Thursday. We sit together and we think of things that we can talk about with respect to storytelling. So we discuss different principles of storytelling. And then following that, we begin to use those principles and write our own stories. It's a lot of fun because we end up discussing books and movies and things of the sort. And it's very, very exciting. And once we have written the stories, we do have a little bit of time towards the end to share what we've written. And it's a very positive community, so we give a lot of encouragement and support and also help each other figure out how they can improve and make their story a little stronger. So that's a little bit about Write the Real You. And this session is actually an extension of that work. And what I wanted to do was basically to give you a little taste of what these sessions are like, but to do it with a very specific theme, which is the new year. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little story, and then following that, I'll tell you how this workshop is going to work. So my husband and I, Hari is here. Hari, if you just say hi, everybody will know who my husband is. So Hari and I got married about 4 or 5 years back. And just before we got married, we had a conversation with an older couple. And it was a very, very interesting conversation in which they told us about what the secret of their successful marriage was. And they said it was that every night before they went to sleep, they made sure that they sorted out any disagreements that they had. So they never carried their anger and frustration with each other to the next day. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do today, except it's not one day, it's a year. And it's not only anger, but every kind of emotion that we might have experienced and every different challenge that we might have faced that we're going to just briefly take a look at. Okay? So in this session, I'll give you a few prompts. They are open-ended questions for you to just think through and write whatever comes to you. With some of these questions, you may feel like answering the questions, but with some of them, you may think, this is actually triggering a thought, and I want to go on a tangent. Don't worry, go on a tangent. It's all good. It's completely up to you to decide what you want to do. Okay? So before every prompt, I'm going to explain a very simple concept to you, and then I'll ask the question, and then set a timer for 5 minutes, and we'll all write together in silence. Does that sound okay? Okay. If you have questions during this time, just to make sure that we don't interrupt other people as they're thinking and writing, make sure to put your question in the chat rather than unmute. But towards the end of the session, we will have a little bit of time to ask our questions, to share, what the entire experience was like, and also to just speak to each other and get to know each other a little bit more. Okay? Good. So what we'll do is, as I give you the questions, I'd love for you to write it. You can use either pen and paper, or if you prefer to type, go ahead and type. But whatever it is, I would really recommend that you use this time to actually get some words down. Yeah, don't just think about it, write. Yeah, because there's something very special about that process of thinking through the process of writing, if that makes sense. Okay. So here is your very first question. Very simple one. What thoughts and feelings come to your mind when you think of the year 2022? What thoughts, and feelings come to your mind when you think of the year 2022? Hey, Carol, I'm just going to put the instructions in the chat because we're entering the silent phase of our writing. Okay. Okay, we're at 5 minutes. So just try to complete that stream of thought. So for the holidays, I went home, and home is a little far away from where I am at the moment. It's somewhere in the south of India, and I live in central India. And when I went home, I met a lot of these people who used to be my students in Sunday school. And I remember them in my mind as 10-year-olds. But when I saw them, they were fully grown, beautiful adults. Yeah. It's because there was this period of time away from them that I was able to appreciate how they had changed. But the thing is that we live with ourselves, right? We are always in our company. So it's very difficult for us to notice our growth. Yeah. So what helps us to notice our growth is to have a clear reference point. And it helps us to think during the end of the year of the year that went by. So it could be the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022 as your reference for you to kind of just see how you have grown over the year. Okay, so think back to the end of 21 or the beginning of 2022 and think of how you have grown over the year. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question, but before you answer, just do pay attention to it because I'm going to mention a few different domains that I'd like you to cover. So the question is this: where have you seen growth this year? It could be personal growth. It could be spiritual growth. It could be career growth. It could be fun, mental health, physical health, money, and relationships, including family, friends, and love. Okay? So, where have you seen growth this year? I'm going to put the domains in the chat. to finish that stream of thought. Recently, I started writing for an online magazine called The Highly Sensitive Refuge. And I've written about 4 articles for them, and I have 2 more articles in the pipeline. But the first article that was published, I kind of went back and looked at the document where the editors had given their comments. There were some comments that were negative. I wouldn't say negative, just suggestions in terms of what I could work on or what to change. And then there was one comment which said something to the effect of, "You're a great writer." And the interesting thing is that comment I'd never noticed. Every other comment I paid attention to, but that comment got lost. Anyway, so a couple of months after this article was published, I went back to look at that document to see how to tweak the article I was writing now. That's when I saw that there was this positive comment that I had not paid attention to. And I was thinking about that, and I kind of had a conversation with my husband as well. And he reminded me that there's this principle in psychology. It's called negative bias. We are completely biased towards things that are negative. We prefer to remember words that hurt, as ironic and strange as it sounds, rather than focus on compliments. Yeah. So this is something that psychologists have noticed, but it's something that we've also understood doesn't necessarily benefit us. It's important that we pay attention to compliments, because if we do, if we internalize those compliments, then it reinforces behavior or actions that are actually good, that contribute to the world. Yeah. So it's important that we pay attention to compliments, even though it is something that goes against our instincts. So we're going to do that today in this prompt. And I want you to really think. It might not be very easy to do, but I'd like you to think about some of the nice things that people have said to you. If you're finding it difficult to find those compliments, think of conversations that you've had during the year that have warmed your heart. Maybe the compliment was hidden somewhere in it. Okay, so the question is, what are some nice things people have said to you this year? What are some nice things people have said to you this year? Okay, just finish that sentence, please. As part of one of my writing projects, I had conversations with multiple different people about the meaning of suffering, of the meaning of our struggles and pain. And different people gave me different iterations, different versions of their idea behind why we suffer. One of the things that people told me, and this came from one of my writing mentors, he said something, I can't remember his exact words, but I'll paraphrase it. It's quite beautiful. He said, you can only see the sun at sunrise and sunset. You cannot see the sun at its zenith. So imagine a very bright, brilliant day. You look up at the sky, you see that it's maybe white, maybe blue, but it's really bright, and you can't actually find the sun. Unless there are clouds that are blocking it, you can't actually see the sphere of the sun. But if you think of the evening or the morning when the sun is just rising and it's not yet that brilliant, when it sort of has to filter through the dust and get to our eyes, that's when we see it. So our struggles are kind of like that. And then it helps us see our strength. Our strength is always there. It's always been there, but we don't see it when the day is bright and everything is glorious and brilliant and we're happy and everything is just good. We see it best when we go through something difficult. I know that this may be something that's a little difficult to accept because, I mean, I do ask the question, why do we have to suffer in order to see our strength? But I guess it's like an opportunity for our strength to show through that struggle. Yeah. So I'm just going to say what he said one more time. And then after that, I'll give you the prompt. He said, you can only see the sun at sunrise and sunset. You cannot see the sun at its zenith. So here's your question. I have no doubt that in 2022, you had some challenges. I'd like you to write what some of those struggles were and which of your strengths were highlighted when you consider the fact that you survived those struggles. I'm going to repeat the question again. I have no doubt that 2022 had some challenges. What are some of the struggles you faced this year? Which of your strengths were highlighted when you considered the fact that you survived those struggles? I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Okay. We're at the end of 5 minutes, but I'm guessing this one might need a little extra time. Just lift up your hand if you need a little extra time on this one. You're okay? All right. So let me know when you're done. Just give me a thumbs up if you're done. Okay. Great. Okay. There's a lot of value in every conversation that we have. Everything that we witness and everything that we go through is an opportunity for us to learn from. So if you think about things that were difficult, like we just looked at, we might see our strengths in it. We might also learn specific lessons from them. Yeah. So it could be a conversation that just triggers a thought. It could be something that we see or hear or feel, which begins to trigger, a particular thought journey. Or it could be that we went through something that made us change our belief. So I want you to look back at the year that went by and think about what lessons you have learned through 2022. What lessons have you learned this year? Do finish that thought. And we'll do the last few parts of today's session. What we've done so far is to reflect on three different things. We looked at our growth over the year. We looked at some of the strengths that were manifested during this year. And we've looked at some of the lessons that we have learned through this year. And through it all, we made sure that we focused on some of the positive rather than negative aspects of this year. Yeah. What we're going to do now is to take that information and evaluate it. But we're not evaluating the year. We're not evaluating ourselves. We are just evaluating our perception of how we have changed. Okay? So we're just evaluating our perception of how we have changed. So for your next prompt, I'd like you to think about this exercise and answer the question. Having done this exercise, what do you think, feel, or perceive about yourself? Having done this exercise, what do you think, feel, or perceive about yourself? wrap up that sentence, please. We've come to the end of this session. I mean, the writing part of the session. We will spend some time discussing what we've written. But before we get there, I'd like you to go through what you've written and then decide what you want to take forward into the year 2023. What are some things that you want to take forward into the year 2023? We'll just begin to share a little bit about what our experience was like doing this exercise. A lot of the questions that I've asked today, we've only spent 5 minutes on each of them, but I'm sure that if you were to ask yourself those questions and give yourself more time, you'd find more answers. So if you want to, and if you have the time, do think about them a little bit more and do a little bit more reflecting and writing. But if not, it's okay. Great job today. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what this experience was like. And do also mention one of the things that you're going to take forward into the year 2023. If you don't want to share, you don't have to. Just letting you know. Yeah, go ahead, Polly.
Hi. Thank you so much for doing this. I'd like to start off by saying, Anne, it was really, really lovely. I've had a very crazy year. I started the year off basically the first week with like a heart attack. So my health has been like all over the place, and I also so there was highs and lows, and then I started a new job with benefits, which was great. And then I started a new relationship. It ended up not being great. So I've literally had like the most roller coaster of years that I can like actually ever. I'm also sober. I celebrated 15 years of sobriety in October. So, oh, thanks. Yay, coffee. So getting to 15 years sobriety, like every year, it's daily diligence, for sobriety. Some days you don't think about it, and other days there's lots of triggers. So when I reached 15 years of sobriety, I actually looked at the past year of being sober. And so I had kind of taken a look already at stuff, but this was really looking at everything. So this helped me dive deeper, and I'm so appreciative of that. And it was really not just like getting through stuff and seeing what I've been through, but what really hit me, and I'm going to try not to cry, was the writing out the compliments. I couldn't believe I kept going. I was like thinking of stuff, and it was really good because because like you, I'm a storyteller as well, and I'm very open about. I just say everything that I'm going through so that other people don't feel alone. And I was just reminding myself of what people give back to me, because it lets them know that they're not alone in what they go through with their struggles. And so just looking at that and then trying to remind myself of my strengths was really great this morning, like writing this all out. And so I'm the first thing that I wrote that I want to take forward into next year is reminding myself of my strengths every single day, because like you were talking about the negative bias thing, we all have this like tape recorder on a loop in our head that just goes over and over. When you said that, there's a line from Pretty Woman, the Julia Roberts film that hit me when I watched it like 1990 or whatever. I'm old, anyways. And Richard Gere says to her, like, why do you believe all these things that people say about you, right? And she says, it's easier to believe the bad stuff. And I've never connected more with a line in any movie or show more than that one, because we all feel that, because like you see all these like positive things, but one negative thing, and that's what stays with you. So I'm trying to remind myself of my strengths going into the new year, and trying to turn off that tape recorder in my head and focusing on like a positive mindset. So that's something that I started working on this year, and it's so hard, but I know that, you do a little bit each day, So even working on like a tiny bit each day is like better than nothing. So that's what I'll be taking into the new year. So yeah, so thank you so very much, Anne.
Thank you so much for sharing, Polly. Oh my gosh, you've had such a crazy year. I'm glad that you're okay and that, there's positive things and compliments and just lessons that you can take from the year that's gone by.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Does anyone else want to share? Yeah, go ahead, Richard. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I just put that it'd been quite a difficult year because work's always challenging, and like I work as a support worker, and like it's just getting more and more challenging because of the lack of money and the government money and stuff like that. So I just put that, although that, which I don't always see, although that is always going on, I'm a lot more resilient and adaptive than I might think I am initially, and able to sort of adapt to those situations. And so a lot of it, what I wrote was like insight into adaptation, being able to adapt to situations, but also similar to Polly, I've had health challenges this year in terms of a diabetes diagnosis coming back. I did have it in the past and then got it into remission, and it's come back. But just that I've latterly, in the latter part of the year, made quite a few changes to try and adapt to that. So it's adapting again to situations. Things that people said that were positive. I didn't go to the works Christmas party because I don't really drink, but someone said, "Oh, we missed you this year because you didn't go to the Christmas party." And lessons that I've learned is that not to take my health for granted, and that I'm an active participant in my well-being, and that on the work side of things, that I can empower myself creatively to change my experience, and that I have more things going for me than I might think I've got going for me. I also put lots of stuff about adaptation and taking care of your health, and then things for going forward into 25. I continue to improve my health and exercise and eat well, and maybe seeing an Ayurvedic doctor. That might be something that needs doing. And then continue to progress with learning. That was a theme for the last year as well, was learning, and like structuring my learning so that I learn in a consistent way as I go along. And because I have a lot of stuff that I want to learn, but like sometimes it drifts away. But yeah, keeping that on track, and being a little bit more organized in learning in a structured way. So yeah, that was me.
Thank you for sharing, Richard. That sounds really exciting. Learning is a really, really good thing to take forward into the year. Yeah. And I'm with you on the resilient, being able to just notice your resilience, because that's something that I've got written as well. Yeah. We don't always see our resilience, right? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think we have time for maybe one or two more people to share. Carol, go ahead.
It's actually Carol Ann. I prefer
Okay,
both.
Carol Ann. Yes.
Yeah. it's just part of my growth over the years. It's Caroline. Interesting questions, you know, thinking back, and I realized how much of a fog this year is and has been, and actually can't think of any compliments. And I'm going, okay, even though I know there has been, and can't think of the lessons. So what I'm taking forward into next year is actually a commitment to, when I get the compliments, actually get a book, write them down, date them, so I can read them. And because you're right, it's like they go in and really talk about me. No. But as soon as someone says something negative, it's like, hold on to it, and that stays. And it might only just be one negative, but so be more mindful and consciously, you know, acknowledge them, but also the lessons, because the lessons come, I learn them, but I don't consciously then acknowledge and write them down so that I could reflect. It's like I just move on. So I really want to do that because, again, and I love what you said, Richard, about don't take your health for granted, because that is a key thing. I often look back and I'm going, oh, I used to be so fit. I used to have so much health, and it is a struggle at the moment, and it is a concern, but it's something that what I did learn how to do in this activity is that I am really aware that whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve, because there were 3 key things last year that happened that were really a struggle and were bothering me, but I achieved them. It's like, I did it, you know. So yeah, I can do it if I put my mind to it. So I'm going to take that on and look at my health, but also getting this book written that I keep saying I'm going to write, or that I'm writing, and I keep putting to one side because I need to lead. It's recognizing that I am a leader and I am leading, because people say that you are, I am, and I'm going, really? But I must be in some way, because my friends keep saying that. So let's just take that cloak, put it on, and step forward and just keep moving with it and just put my mind to it, because that's what I realized. If I put my mind to something, I can do it. And so, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, those awarenesses.
Beautiful. You're receiving a lot of love for your idea on the compliment notebook. I think I will do it too. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, Caroline. It's really good.
You're welcome.
We have time for one more person, and then I'll just tell you a little bit about the membership. Preeti says, Preeti has left a little comment in the chat. Thanks so much for this. Wonderful and immersive session. Made me realize how important reflecting and writing are. It's a perfect way for me to restart writing a journal after a very long gap. Thanks again. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone else want to share what their experience was? If not, I'll just mention a couple of lines about the membership. Yes, Lynette, go ahead. Lynette?
Oh,
Were you
sorry, I
gonna-
was trying to
Yeah.
trying to unmute myself there. Hi,
Yeah.
hi,
Hi.
everyone. I think it's a great exercise, this workshop, brilliant exercise. So what I was saying is that yeah, it made me look over a few things that I was thinking about anyway. But yeah, it kind of made me put it down on paper. The part where we had to look at our growth. Where have we seen growth? That really kind of opened me up to all the possibilities that have been happening, because I saw that certain relationships that I kind of, well, not closed the door to them, but it's just kind of like love them from afar sort of thing. I kind of thought, oh yeah, that's kind of changed now, and that's only because I kind of changed my attitude towards them, or my approach, let's say. And so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, let's say, and I'm kind of being a bit patient with them. And it's just how my approach is, which is obviously I am in control of that. So because of my approach, I saw that the relationship developed in a better way. So I'm gonna just keep harnessing that and just saying to myself, well, accept them for who they are and how they are, and just kind of just support them in whatever way they are. But obviously, sometimes it might not be what I like, what they're saying or what they're doing, but then just accept them for what they are. And yeah, it just made me feel a bit better about myself, because other than that, I was kind of just sort of pushing them away, if you like, without realizing it. But it made me think about all those different relationships that I kind of maybe would sort of not sort of invite, even if they were interested in inviting me or something like that. Um, but I definitely have grown in terms of my confidence in terms of what I do, because I know that I was practicing my skill, a new skill as well, a new skill that I've been practicing, which has helped me to gain more confidence in myself. So that my confidence level has really grown quite a bit. So I know that I should do more of that. Um, whatever, even if it's something that I'm not really used to doing, because it's going to stretch me anyway, which it has. It's made me grow, because it appeared to be quite challenging. But then I thought, oh, let me give it a go, and then surprisingly enough, I was able to do it, well enough to feel good about it. So yeah, um, uh, the compliments one, we had to think about something nice that people have said about us. I mean, I have to admit, I did have to think hard about that one, because obviously, like you say, there's that negative bias thing where you don't really think about the nice things that people say about you. But I did manage to come up with quite a few, because one of my strengths is I create really good PowerPoint slides and things like that, and because of my creative side. And someone complimented me. It was my tutor. She said to me, your slides your work is so amazing. And she looked at me in my face when she said it, and I looked at her like, really? I said to say I didn't really believe it, but then when I thought about it, I thought, you should take that, because she's complimenting you. And yeah, she just gave me credit on my work, what I did there. And then when I had a pan, I play steel pan, like a musical instrument. Someone that I invited to the concert, she came up to me and she said, that was excellent, And so yeah, that kind of thing. And also I had a conversation with somebody that kind of confides in me a lot about things when he wants my opinion on things. And he's one of the things he said in the conversation was, you're a fairly intelligent lady, and I really value your opinion and this and that. And I was thinking, oh yeah, he always compliments me and says, oh, you're quite intelligent and this, you're a smart lady, this and this, But yeah, I've had a lot of compliments that way as well. Yeah, I noticed that with what's that question? The areas where I've struggled quite a bit, and where I've struggled a fair bit this year was where I kind of well, I'm going to admit it, I've been procrastinating slightly, but then I've realized that how I've survived it is because I've said to myself, and it's an old saying that I know already, I knew this from quite a few years ago now, is that when whatever people say about you is none of your business. And now I know the true sense of that, because what it actually means is that when it comes to doing something or anything in actual fact, where you have to put yourself out there, and maybe with me, more case of making myself a bit more vulnerable. Basically, you just have to acknowledge the emotion that you are experiencing, even if it's something that you don't like the feeling of, and then basically just take that emotion out of it and just do that right next step in what it is you have to do, because it's the right thing to do. And so I've learned to just acknowledge the emotion and just take the right step in doing what I need to do. And obviously, like, whatever people want to do, if they don't like what I'm saying, if they want to reject me, I just basically just I've done my part, you know, and that's what they mean by whatever people say about you, that is none of your business. Don't concern yourself with that. Don't focus on it. Just focus on what the next thing to keep the flow going. And that's it. So yeah, that's more or less in a nutshell what I got out of it. Yeah, thanks, Anne. That was brilliant.
Thank you, Lynette. I think you should really play the pan drum sometime for me, because you've mentioned it at least 3 or 4 times in our conversations, and I am yet to see how it sounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will share something with you. Yeah, I will share something with you, definitely.
Wonderful.
But yeah, that's one of my running themes. That's helped me throughout my struggles, because it really takes me away from everything and where I can just enjoy things, basically.
Yeah.
Enjoy that moment. So yeah.
Thanks, Lynette. So very quickly, I'll just tell you a few things about the membership. The membership is called Write the Real You, and we focus on getting to the heart of your story. And what we do through the membership is sit together, think about stories that exist, such as movies and books. We discuss it, and then we take those principles and try to write our own stories. But what's special about the community is that it's not just about learning or writing, but it's predominantly about encouraging each other to tell the story, which is quite difficult to do. You know, it's very difficult to share what we have been through with the world, but the community helps us do that. Yeah, so I've just sort of put the link in the chat. It's annharakithan.com /write the real you. Do check it out. If it sounds good and you want to be part of the community, do join it. If you need a lower price, please reach out to me, because, you know, I've been on every spectrum of the writing journey, I think, and I know what it can be like sometimes. So if you need a lower price, please let me know. And even if you don't want to join the community, but you feel like supporting a writer, then do join the community anyway and just say, hey, good job, or something of that sort. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, I am happy to take them. If not, I think I will let you go. Any questions? Okay, fantastic. So thank you all so much for joining me today. And thank you for sticking around to the end and listening to each other share their experiences and their thoughts. And yeah, I wish you a very pleasant, beautiful year ahead. And I'm sure that you're going to grow so much and just, you know, notice those compliments more and stop moving towards negative bias and take care of your health and yeah, all those good things. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a great year. Bye.
Thank you again, Anne.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.